Pastor Marianne Kellenbach, pastor at Living Faith Church, which is located in the community of Tradition in Port St. Lucie, Florida. This is the day the Lord has made, so let us rejoice and be glad in it. Today is Friday, October the 23rd. Just want to remind everybody who will be attending worship with us on Sunday, whether it is in person, whether it is through live streaming or Zoom, or whether it is later on when you're watching the recording, wear red. It's hard to believe it's Reformation Sunday already. So wear red. Whether we can see you or not does not matter. We are all together. So please remember to wear your red. That is the color of the day. Today we continue on this Friday to talk about reframing. And there was just a whole host of different devotionals this week. And today I want to focus on reframing and the way in which we have to be really proactive at this. It is a practice. It takes practice to do this because everything in this world is going to tell you that you are to think otherwise. But we know better than that. And so we need to be diligent and intentional in keeping our time in Scripture and listening for what it is that God is telling us. And how we are called to reframe the various situations. So, Paul writes in his letter to the church in Rome, to the Romans, he says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your minds, so that you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect." Right? Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your minds. And right then and there is that reframing, the renewing of your minds. And again, it's not something that's easy. I've been reading this wonderful book about reframing the soul. And the writer, Gregory Spencer, he writes, and I want to read this to you exactly as he's written it because it's gorgeous. Each reframing is worth reviewing, but I'll leave most of them on their own, letting the repetition and contrast speak to the power of the change Christ offers. When Paul writes that we should not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of our minds in Romans 12:2, which I just read to you, Paul recognizes that we who follow Jesus will have different ways of seeing ourselves, that these ways will, at times, conflict with the cultural voices around us, and that our minds are crucial players in these changes. Our transformation depends on our mental activity, much of which needs to focus on the difference between cultural frames and biblical frames. We are not to be reduced to our appearance, to our popularity, to our accomplishments. We are to get our status from being God's children, from being forgiven, from being gradually changed into God's likeness. And I want to add into that, in being forgiven, in being set free, in being made new. It is hard. We do frame ourselves around what the cultural frame says. But we have to shed that frame and put on the biblical frame of what is important, what's really important. Culture is going to tell us again and again and again that we are not good enough. As a matter of fact, that's what advertisers are constantly telling us. You are not good enough the way you are. But if you buy our product, you will be wonderful. You will be superior. If you buy this cereal, you will be loved by your children and you will have given them the best nourishment that they could possibly have. Ha ha ha. Or how about the people that dance around their living room so excited that they were able to actually get their floors clean. Have you ever danced around your living room after you've cleaned your floors, knowing that you are now an entirely new person? I don't think so. How about if you drink this product, you will be seen as one of the popular people. Or if you drive this car, you've made it. It's a status symbol. We all know what these commercials are. The most important thing for you to remember is these commercials tell you you're not good enough the way you are. But if you buy our product, you will be better. You will be good enough, or at least on your way to good enough. Because that's what the culture, that's what advertisers, that's what people who sell products, that's what they have to do. That's what they have to do. But you are good enough. You are perfect the way you are. You have been made in the image of God. And I constantly say that, and I'll say it again and again and again. That's the frame that you need to put on. Remember this. Remember what Gregory Spencer says. We are not to be reduced to our appearance, to our popularity, to our accomplishments. We are to get our status from being God's children, from being forgiven, from being gradually changed into God's likeness. And I say, for being made new. On this day, wear that frame. See yourself when you look in the mirror as God sees you and not as this culture sees you, because you are beloved exactly the way you are. I will see you back here tomorrow for contemplative prayer. Blessings.